Hello my sweet friends, my name is Jesse and I'd like to call you welcome in yet another Digi question episode. And the name says it all, we are going to try and look for answers concerning a particular subject concerning the Digimon universe. You know what, I think we should call it the Digimon multiverse, that's how big Digimon is. Now, I am a huge fan of Thor, mostly because I love Norse mythology. I'm even currently reading the book Ragnarok, a foretold series of impending events which includes a great battle in which numerous great Norse mythological figures will perish. And after observing Thor for a while, and more specifically its hammer Mjölnir, I started getting into a trance and remembered one thing. Thor's hammer somehow found its way into the digital world and got into the hands of ZUDOMON. I immediately began asking myself so many questions about it. Like, for example, how did Thor's hammer find its way into the digital world? Is that hammer really that Mjölnir that once was carried by Thor? If so, is ZUDOMON worthy of carrying that hammer? Does it even function the same way in the digital world as it did in Norse mythology? And mind you, these are only a few questions, but the main point is that we understand the hammer wielded by ZUDOMON a little bit better. But first things first, as you know, the digital world is a world that exists parallel to Earth, which has an intimate link to the data of Earth's telecommunications network. This telecommunication network can be seen as a world in and of itself, with data being its citizens. I'd like to spare you the details of how it actually works, but suffice it to say that the Digimon world came into existence and will keep on expanding based on all the data that is already stored inside our communication network and based on the data that have yet to be stored in our communication network. And so the digital multiverse was created with each universe leading its own existence, and each of these worlds basically parallel Earth's geography features. There are continents, islands, deserts, mountains, oceans, and almost all other kinds of terrain one finds on the topography of Earth. However, as data is easy to modify, and considering that the digital world is made up of data, the features of any particular area of the digital world are subject to immediate and drastic alteration at any time. Which brings us to Thor's hammer, the Mjölnir. You see, what's so fun about the digital world is that it is a universe that simply is. It exists. Whatever data, like that of the Mjölnir for example, has the potential of being digitalized and thus will be enabled to find its way either automatically inside the digital world or artificially, meaning via the intervention of someone or something. The Mjölnir, being a hammer from Norse mythology, was digitalized and found its way in the northern areas of the digital world, the colder areas, and was trapped in ancient ice only to be dug up by ZUDOMON, which means that the hammer is probably way older than its new wielder. The question is, are we talking about the same hammer? The answer is no. We are actually talking about a digitally updated version of the Mjölnir, to my surprise, but for that I will have to clarify a few misconceptions here. I want to start by saying the following. Norse mythology is not Marvel Comics. That's very important to know. I say this because there is this common belief that whosoever be he worthy shall have the power if they manage to lift Mjölnir, but that's not how the hammer works in Norse mythology. Thor, the real Thor, wields Mjölnir because he is strong enough to lift it. Being worthy has nothing to do with anything. According to the stories, Thor wears a magic belt, the Mjölnir, a belt which doubles his already godlike strength. And that is why, when he throws the hammer, it becomes red hot. That's how powerful Thor is, and that's how powerful you must be if you want to carry the hammer. And have you seen ZUDOMON? It is a giant, and is at least 40 feet tall. With its pile of muscles, I'm sure ZUDOMON might be among the only ones capable of lifting the hammer. Just a side note, I do have to add that there is a youngster who used Thor's hammer in the Digimon universe, a youngster called Joey. But he carried it with a little help from Angel Woman. It has nothing to do with being worthy. Thor's hammer has a few specifically written characteristics that you should take into account. Like for example, the fact that the weapons can always be called back to its owner, something we even see with ZUDOMON. But the characteristic I want to explain is that of the summoning of thunder and lightning. We'll have to add that there are no sources mentioning that Thor was incapable of summoning thunder and lightning without the hammer. The hammer sort of enhanced Thor's lightning capabilities, and this would mean, at the very least, that ZUDOMON's lightning cannot really be compared to that of Thor's. There's a reason why ZUDOMON's hammer is called Thors Hammer after all. Only Thor can truly pull out the hammer's true potential. But then again, it doesn't really matter for ZUDOMON because it can summon ice and has its own strength. Now, I did say that Thors Hammer wielded by ZUDOMON is a digitally updated version, right? Let me explain. The material used to make Mjölnir should be iron, depending on the depiction. Thors Hammer, carried by ZUDOMON, is made out of Chrondigizoit metal, one of the strongest metal in the digital universe. For more explanation about the properties of the metal, I would gladly invite you to check out the explaining Chrondigizoit video in the channel. Link of it is in the description box. Another update is the handle of the hammer, which is much longer on ZUDOMON's hammer. And this has history. You see, the dwarven brothers Atri and Brokkr forged Mjölnir, but in the process of creating said hammer, one of the brothers, Brokkr, was stung in the eyelid, and the blood blocked the dwarf's eye, preventing him from properly seeing his work. The fly was in fact a transformed Loki who tried to prevent the dwarves to make a work more beautiful than those of the sons of Ivaldi. These are the brothers who created Odin's spear Gungnir, a spear that was also digitalized and came into the hands of Gallantmon Crimson Mode. I made a YouTube short for it, but because I love you guys so much and because the short does not take long, here is the short. Did you know that Gallantmon Crimson Mode's divine lance of light called Gungnir is in fact a reference to the spear of old revered Norse god of wisdom, Odin from Norse mythology? We're talking about an inspiration coming from the Scandinavian countries. The creation of the spear is a mystery. Some say it was created by dwarves known as the Ivaldi brothers, others say it was forged from sunlight. Some accounts claim it was made from the branches of the great tree Yggdrasil, the sacred tree around which exists all else including the 9 worlds. Odin's spear was called the Swaying One for the way it moved in battle. When thrown, it moved and twisted but always found its target no matter how it was thrown. It would hit whatever or whomever it was aimed for. Gallantmon's lance in its Crimson Mode works a bit different. For starters, it became an energy weapon that has no physical form. Then it has the ability to disintegrate the opponent into electrons to consign them into oblivion within another dimension. Could it be that Gallantmon's Gungnir is more powerful than the original one carried by Odin? So the Dwarven brothers produced a hammer of unsurpassed quality, which never missed its mark and would boomerang back to its owner after being thrown, but it had one flaw: the handle was short. And that is why God of War's depiction of Mjölnir is so accurate. ZUDOMON doesn't have that flaw because its handle is long. So to conclude, yes, ZUDOMON really is carrying Thors Hammer, albeit an updated version. It is quite impressive to be honest, but here is something you must know. The Digimon developers actually did a nasty one on us. They gave ZUDOMON's hammer the name Thors Hammer, right? But ZUDOMON has a Digivolution called Vikimon, and Vikimon has a Morning Star weapon that is called Mjölnir. Weird, isn't it? And you want to know what makes it extra weird? It is that Vikimon literally is the embodiment of Thor, but in a more Digimon digital version. If you want me to compare Thor to Vikimon, let me know in the comment section. Hey guys, this is the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I do want to ask the following. If you have some other Digimon questions that you believe would be interesting to go over, write them down in the comment section. Can't wait to read through them. And in case you guys are new, know that all Digi Questions related videos are placed in the Digi Questions playlist. A very interesting playlist if I may say so myself. Make sure to subscribe and like the video to help me stay in favor of the YouTube algorithm. Take care, and I will see you in the next video.